Hey everyone, welcome to the Breslin Center in East Lansing, Michigan. John Bauer and Alice McCarthy from inside Indiana, and I think we're actually still waiting for the Indiana basketball team to show up here tonight. Booyah to a
Shots fired.
throwback to Steve Scott, but yeah, really from the beginning, Indiana led actually 2-1 for 14 seconds of this game, and other than that, the other 39 minutes and 46 seconds were all Michigan State. The Spartans ended up winning 70 to 50. It's the fewest points that Indiana scored since scoring 47 last year against Northwestern. Indiana shoots 28% from the floor, um, under 18% actually in the first half. And really, you have to look really hard to find some kind of positive number in here for Indiana. James Blackman was 1 for 14 from the floor. Oh, he was 6 for 6 from the free throw line. Found it. There's a silver lining. But really, other than that, just a really the worst effort we've seen from Indiana this year, and really, I think in a long time.
In a long time. I mean, top-ranked scoring team in the Big Ten coming in at just over 85 points per game. They get 50 points here tonight. Only scored 17 in the first half. Um, Lost by 20, 70 to 50. Obviously, could have and probably should have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
I was reading just one of our comments of our commenters on the post-game thread who basically said this game could have been a 40-point loss if Izzo hadn't let up on his old friend Tom Crean. And after the game, both Izzo and Crean did say that Izzo thought this was the best game his team has played all year. And Crean admitted he didn't know if that was true or not, but he knows that this is the worst game his team played, and the stats definitely show. Alex said 28% from the field, 5 of 24 from three. Everybody really played awful. I mean, I guess you could point to Yogi scoring 17 points. But, he was only 6 for 16 from the field. And one thing that stood out to me, and Crean was talking about a little bit, just saying how it looked like his team had never run a half-court offense and how they weren't really coming off screens or attacking the hoop well. And it just seemed like to me, and this could only be me, but not only was Michigan State defending well, but it just seemed like Michigan State didn't respect IU and their guards driving to the lane. Yogi can do that, but he's not going to really score. Robert Johnson, James Blackman were both kind of lackadaisical, I guess you could say. And then again, getting nothing from Hunter Mosquera-Perea. And actually, that's probably the bigger game, or the bigger thing that happened in this game. And Troy Williams, who Tom Izzo thought was like sick. That's how bad he was.
Those two guys, Hunter Mosquera-Perea and Troy Williams, entering this game, I think everyone was kind of.
Both had 0 points.
Yeah, neither of them scored. They both. Hunter played 10 minutes. Troy played 17. They only took 3 shots. Obviously missed all of them. But coming into this game, Troy was playing as well as anybody. Hunter was playing basically as well as anyone expected him to play. He'd averaged 9 and 7 over the past 6 games, which is kind of what you can expect, what you want out of Hunter Bray. He doesn't need to average a double-double. He doesn't need to be the star of this team at all. He just needs to be pretty good. And that's what he's been in recent games. He's been surprisingly good at times, especially against Louisville. But tonight, really right off the bat, he had 2 fouls in the first, 84 seconds?
24 something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he had to go out. Emmett Holt came in and played pretty well. He ended up with 4 points. And after the game, Tom Crean really talked about Hunter quite a bit, about that Hunter came in here tonight really not at all prepared to play, and that his job is basically up for grabs because Emmett Holt came to East Lansing prepared to play. And Holt looked good. He played 22 minutes, only took 3 shots, made 2 of them. He just looked, there were a handful of players who looked ready to play tonight, and there were 2 or 3 handfuls of players who just looked like they didn't know they had a game tonight.
And Crean did say his team was excited to play, but obviously you'd hope your team be excited to play. But the bigger thing is not being ready to play. They last played Nebraska 5 days ago, New Year's Eve. So you get 5 days off. You win. It's a huge game. You're coming into another big game on the road. It just, it doesn't really add up how a team wouldn't be ready to play. And Mosquera-Perea, Crean was really hard on him, as he should be. I mean, he's coming off his first double-doubles career. You'd think he'd be better than an 0 for 1 from the field, 0 points, 1 rebound, and 2 fouls line. He also said that Hunter in his first 2 years didn't focus or didn't play as hard as he could have at all.
Right.
And Troy Williams played pretty bad too, but he was less, whatever you want to call it, on Troy. He was less bullish on Troy and said that Troy will be back But you kind of wondering what happened to Hunter Mosquera-Perea these past few days. With, you can't really look into things too much because you're only given so much from Crean in that press conference. But you got to think something must have happened. It could have been just tonight, but coming off his first double-double 5 days ago to now, maybe not starting Saturday against Ohio State.
Yeah, it was just Brandon Dawson and Denzel Valentine just had their way with everybody inside, really. They were able to score like crazy, and it was one of those nights where everything went well for Michigan State and everything went really, really poorly for Indiana. Michigan State had 17 offensive rebounds, which, I mean, that was kind of how they built their lead initially, was they would have like 3 shots of possession because, Dawson or somebody would be able to get some offensive rebounds. Dawson had 5 offensive boards, Gavin Schilling had 4, and they were just able to get easy putbacks and things like that. They actually had as many offensive rebounds as Indiana had defensive rebounds, and Michigan State ended up winning the offense or the rebounding battle 50-28.
Dawson really just manhandled the game, especially in the first half. I think Troy took, how many shots did they take? 2. They were both in the first half. With Dawson guarding him, and Dawson has probably got, I don't know, maybe 30 pounds on Troy.
Yeah.
And so for Troy, he's still a sophomore, still kind of figuring out his game. But you'd like to see him try to do something more, and maybe, I don't know if being more mature is the right word, but trying to find other ways to score or impact the game. Outside of getting manhandled by Dawson, who is one of the top flight players in the Big Ten, if we're going to be honest. But Troy did absolutely nothing against him, and he had been playing maybe as the 2nd or 3rd best player on the team. I don't know if you want to say he's been playing better than Blackman, which he probably had been, but for him to go for an over tonight was pretty catastrophic, right?
Yeah, it was, and I was hoping not to, 1-1. I guess looking at this, before Big Ten play started, if Indiana was going to be 1-1, starting on the road.
Take that,
yeah, but the fact is that they that one loss is incredibly ugly here tonight. But on paper, really, the only thing is, the thing that matters is really in the win-loss column. Indiana is 1-1 in conference, goes back home to play Ohio State, I think at noon on Saturday.
Noon Saturday.
Yeah.
Battle of 2 of the top 3 Big Ten freshmen, in my opinion, in Blackman, D'Angelo Russell. Shout out to Melo Trimble, who probably should win Freshman of the Year.
So far.
So far, it is early.
Right.
But Blackman's going to have to play a lot better than 1 for 14,
Yeah,
and
okay.
that's really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you looking forward to that game?
Yeah, Indiana's going to be home. I don't know how many students are going to be around. I don't think it's part of the student ticket package. So I'm just looking to kind of see the atmosphere there and see if Indiana has any of the kind of maturity and composure to rebound after just the worst performance they could possibly imagine here tonight. But yeah, we'll be there. We'll be back down in Bloomington for it. And yeah, we'll have full coverage of that as Indiana dives deeper into Big Ten play. So thanks for watching. If you watched this whole thing, you probably didn't watch the whole game because why would you have? But thanks for watching again, and we'll see you Saturday.